Blessings, everyone. Today I would like to offer a reading. This is from the Angel Prayers Oracle. And this is a deck that I really love from Kyle Gray because it helps to bring in the angelic frequency. And today, Spirit was guiding me to wear my Celestine crystal, which is a absolutely immaculate crystal. I also have a larger one in the shape of a heart. This is Celestine or Celestite. And this is a perfect crystal if we are working with the angelic spheres. And so today there's been a lot of messages coming through from the Archangels and Metatron, just guiding because of the season change recently, releasing, going within. And it's always such a beautiful symphony of light when the angels come through. They are like octaves of light. And many of us always get to experience this when we are taking these beautiful pictures. Sometimes some of us say that they are the light codes. They come through, and it's very difficult to put into words, but I know Pythagoras has talked about the music of the spheres, and the angelic realms also embody this beautiful symphony. So first, I would like to say thank you to Source for allowing me to be a medium of light. And I ask all the angels of the different octaves to please help bring a message for the highest good for the collective. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Now I'm going to shuffle. I always shuffle 3. The first one helps to embody and bring into alignment Source. The second one helps to embody and bring into the alignment of spirit and higher self. And the third is alignment of the soul. That is the personality and the way we express our spirit, our higher self, through a personality that helps us to navigate our karma and our lessons. And then I just kind of move the cards around as they pull their energy through. And the first one is live your joy. Thank you, angels, for supporting me as I follow my joy. And I know sometimes that's a difficult thing to hear, especially if we're in a part of our journey where we're going through something difficult. How do we live our joy? And the angels just want to remind all of us that joy isn't something that we go into. Joy isn't a place that we must step into. It is not a mind frame. Joy is an innate part of our being. Joy is the simple, childlike wonder that shows itself through, even in the moments when we feel frustration or unsure. The joy is that small, innate part of us that wants to say yes to everything. The soul, they're reminding me, doesn't see anything as good or bad, right or wrong. The soul just wants to experience. And so that part of our being carries the innate joy. It asks us to say yes, because no matter whether our physical brain can understand, our logic understands that every experience expands the consciousness, brings us into a deeper state of awareness, helps us remember why we're here. That the soul is excited about this. It's especially if it's not something that we've ever experienced before in many of the lifetimes that we've had. And though many of us don't remember, there is still that innate joy of saying yes. And so when we're going through anything, even the difficult challenges, they're asking us to try to remember to step into the space, understanding that at the very least, the soul is excited. They know that when we get through the other side of whatever it is that we're experiencing, we are collecting knowledge that will soon become wisdom, especially if we can allow ourselves for occurrences and what we call time to pass, and we reflect. We always end up saying that we understand why something had to happen the way it did. And in that, there's a sense of peace because we've made it through it. And in this space brings the joy of knowing that we are now wise. We are healing. We can see joy and sometimes laughing at ourselves that we couldn't see the clarity in the moment that we were going through it. But in a sense of retrospect, we understand. And they're saying to pick one more card today. And so this is, usually they don't, but they're saying, okay, Peaceful Warrior, Archangel Ariel. Thank you, Ariel, for helping me stand my ground with peace. And as this octave of light comes forward, they're saying that many times when we have something that we want to make our point, when we believe we have a clarity or an insight about something, it's very difficult to stay calm. It's very difficult to remain in that place of peace because maybe we're really emotionally feeling vibrant about something. Sometimes we could be in the heat of an argument and we don't want to compromise. We are in a space where we're questioning values, morals, maybe even who we believe we are in an interaction. But the Peaceful Warrior is also in the space of wanting to understand. Because when we are standing, whether it's a group of people, one-on-one, having an interaction, we have to remember that those across from us are also in that same space. They want to have their side viewed and understood. They want to make their profound point. They have a cause that they believe in, and it may not fully align with what we're saying and we're believing in that moment. But yet, here are the warriors standing up for what they believe in, standing up for their rights, trying to validate what they're saying to each other, whether it has to do with their moral compass or their values, a point of view. The angels are saying that it doesn't matter. We could be shouting from the rooftops, or we could be whispering. At the end of the day, the Peaceful Warrior doesn't mean that we've withdrawn our point of view. And it doesn't mean that we are not in a space of frustration. It doesn't mean that we may not be in a space of confusion, sadness, anger. All of these emotions are valid when we're going through this process of trying to express something that really means something to us on some level. But a Peaceful Warrior understands that the first step is know thyself and understand the intention behind. Why are we expressing? Why? Are we trying to express a point of view because we feel that it would enrich others? Are we expressing our point of view because we feel that we're not being heard? Are we standing up for something because we feel that it's the right thing to do? Or perhaps it's something that we've been through and we don't want to see others suffering? or experiencing certain situations, the angels are saying that intention is everything. And once we understand why we are doing this, we will take the correct pathways, use the correct words, understand how to balance the emotions through everything and our tone of voice, and recognize that whomever we are expressing this to is valid in their own right, on their view and their perspective, because there are so many different perspectives. That's why we have so many different experiences. Sometimes the angels are saying that we will have the same experience ourselves over and over and over again. And it's not because we didn't learn the lesson. It's because we are being invited to see different perspectives of the same lesson. So that helps us communicate better. We may be trying to make a point about something that we believe in. They're using the example of vegan because that's something recently they know that over the last year and a half, almost 2 years now, that I've stepped into this space with my husband. And they're saying that if I want to express my point of view about it, that I have to go within first and understand the intention of that. Is my intention because I've recognized something within myself that feels there's a value to being a vegan? Do I recognize my intention as being because I have a deep, profound love for the animals, and I believe in my own way that that is honoring them in reverence? How is my opinion going to affect the person that I'm trying to express it to? Am I trying to get them to value my opinion and my choice so that they decide to do their own research and question themselves as to whether this is the right choice for them as well? And what does that mean to me if they say yes? What does it mean to me if they say no? Does that invalidate their ideas and thoughts and experiences then? Is that the choice I'm making by needing my opinion heard about it? So intention is everything. If we intend to be negative towards someone because their opinion is completely opposite than ours, then that's not being a peaceful warrior. A peaceful warrior stands in their understanding, stands in their know thyself space, and isn't trying to war their opinions, thoughts, ideas, and experiences onto others, but share in order to expand the consciousness, in order to offer another perspective, to plant a seed, to help others to have something to consider and to contemplate, to give contrast to measure their opinion by. If we go into any of this with the idea of changing someone's opinion or invalidating it, then we're not being a peaceful warrior. We don't have to fight. We don't have to come in with the swords swinging or a bunch of facts being screamed. That doesn't do anything. As a matter of fact, I've learned many times now that when we come screaming at someone, they just shut down anyway, and it doesn't really have an interaction. What we want to do is encourage an interaction so that we can understand each other. We're not listening just to have an answer, just to counteract everything the person is saying. We are communicating because we want to be understood. But being heard doesn't mean that we expect that person to agree with us. And that is the place of the peaceful warrior. They understand that the person may hear us, or people that we are addressing, that we're speaking with, having this exchange. There's a difference between being heard, being understood, and being agreed with. Just because someone doesn't agree with us doesn't mean they didn't hear us or they didn't understand. And that is a very powerful space to get to, being a peaceful warrior, making their point, is that they have to make sure that the exchange, the people or person that we're exchanging with, knows that we hear them. And then that we can get to a place where we understand them. And that is when we can address whether we agree or decide to disagree with them. And disagreeing doesn't mean that anyone is right or wrong. It means that that is not the choice that we want to make. That is not the answer we're taking on for ourselves. But we can always be grateful to the other person for sharing a perspective, an idea, a thought, a feeling. Because the more understanding we have in our Rolodex of experience, the greater the consciousness can expand. The higher perspective we get, that's when the higher self can thrive. They're pulling their energy back. So the angels are encouraging us to live our joy, our innate joy. And that is our soul saying, yes, yes, we want to experience. And to have belief in ourselves, to trust ourselves enough that no matter what the experience is in the moment, that we understand we're going to get something from it. We will be changed, we'll be expanded. We could step into a space of healing. And that the peaceful warrior always understands the intention of why they are having this exchange in the first place. And if we're not sure, then that is not a conversation or an exchange for us in that moment. It's better to step away from that until we're ready to understand why we would engage. And it's not just to fill space. It's not just to feel empowered by proving a point. It's to understand. Thank you for allowing me to bring this message. I hope that this makes sense and that someone feels inspired and encouraged the next time we're having an exchange or a potential argument with another. That before we speak, we ask ourselves the intention of this. Much love, everyone. Beautiful blessings.